What's up, people? Early morning video. Early morning video here before I get started with some other crap in my day. I'll get a video done for you guys. So, this one, you can probably tell I woke up recently with the way my voice is and the fact that my mouth guard is still in. So bear with me here. So I wrote this script yesterday. And I think it's interesting. The dating game has changed forever. You got a bunch of young and many times hardworking. A lot of people, they just dip out of the labor force in general. But some people, and I think this is going to be an increasing portion of people who figure they don't want to do the traditional work, like traditional corporate work. And also maybe they don't want to do blue collar work necessarily either. So then they just do their own shit. That's kind of what the position I find myself in. I don't really want to do corporate. I don't really want to do a low level service job. And I just say low level in terms of skill set. I don't mean in terms of importance. I just mean in terms of skill set. I was a dishwasher at one point, and then my buddies trying to get me to be a dishwasher again at this old folks home, whatever. I don't know what the proper term for those homes are, but I guess I'll just call it an old folks home just for lack of a better word, lack of a better phrase, honestly. And I don't really want to do that, and I don't really see the incentive to do that. I'd rather do things like YouTube and the, business project you could call it now that I'm working on, with new technology, with blockchains and different, kinds of technologies like that. So I think there's going to be a growing cohort of dudes who just, this is why I say old systems are going to fall, because they're not, they don't have to, they don't really want to work for, they don't want to work corporate, because corporate has been somewhat taken over arguably, and they don't want to have a low paying, low level service job. That doesn't really give them a hope for, because inflation, right? Inflation's just going to keep getting worse. So it doesn't give them a hope for owning their own property, just doing things like that. And then if there's gonna be no families too, and then the women are gonna be not great to choose from. It's just incentives. The dating game has changed just due to basically lack of incentives. So the dating game has changed forever. There's no going back. The market, however, is not necessarily aware of it yet. So the market just meaning all the people who are eligible for dating and want to date either right now or are planning on it eventually. And this includes all those younger people who haven't really entered yet, because it's gonna be very changed for them by the time they enter it. The people who are very young now, 10 years old. In another 10 years, I think it's gonna be a lot different. Channels like Fresh and Fit, Better Bachelor, Alexander Grace, Coach Greg Adams, Kevin Samuels, Undead Chronic, Taylor the Fiend. I could name so many. But an untold amount of others here on YouTube have already completed the necessary baseline work over the past few years to completely change many young men's minds about the dating/mating strategies that they should be analyzing and practicing. At this point, they've reached the minds of enough young men to make a lasting impact that will last for the next few generations. Like I said, the new guys who are coming in and the young guys who are here now, there's already been enough work to where we're not going to do the same things that have been done for the past 3 generations. A lot of us. Many of us still will, unfortunately, so we're still like in the beginning stages. Like I said, there was a baseline created for people who want to carry that forward. And the people who adopt that new baseline, they're going to carry forward what they're going to carry forward. And just like given the other circumstances that we're seeing in society as of now, like you're going to have a lot of women who are just single, and then that's going to be seen. So that's going to be seen by everybody. So I really think this new baseline is going to end up taking over, just because people are going to see the failures of the old model, and that's going to be the way it goes for a lot of things. Like the dating/mating game is just going to be one of these things that we're going to see in society in general, like the failure of the old model, like I kind of talked about in the last video. So these young men will be the early adopters of the new baseline, the early adopters of new thought processes and strategies that they will transfer to the upcoming younger generations, like the people who are like 10 years old now, 13 years old now maybe. At this point, the general market has not realized it yet. The general market consists of men, obviously, and single mothers. I kind of break down the women's point because, like, I'm looking for a woman, right? I'm not gay or transgender or anything like that. I'm looking for a woman personally. So if you're a woman watching this channel, which I know I have a few, you can kind of change it around like to what you see. But like as a man, this is what I see. The market consists of single mothers, post-college women with no kids, college-age single women with no kids, pre-college age single women with no kids. So for very young men, meaning around 30 years of age or younger, it's starting to look like, and obviously this isn't complete, right? This is just generalization. So just keep this in mind as a generalization, but understand specific scenarios. So keep in mind the generalization, and then if you have specific scenarios that are different, then go with that, but understand the general, like the general perspective in the back of your mind. Just have that there, and then go about finding specific scenarios. That's kind of how I'm going to do it. So for men around 30 years of age or younger, it's starting to look like only college-age single women. So they don't necessarily have to be in college, and to be honest, I don't know if I would want them to be in college. By the time I get established, I'm hoping to have enough resources that that my wife or, girlfriend, wife, whatever you want to call it, for some reason, I want a wife still. You can call me blue-pilled, but I think that definition is going to change. At least I know for me it will be different. And there will be certain things in place to where I won't get screwed over. That's like part of what I'm working on now. But college-age single women and younger, those are seeming to be the good options. At least like just simply because they're young enough to where hopefully they haven't been exposed too much to how things used to be, so then you can do the new shit with them, if that makes sense. You can practice that new baseline and perpetuate that new baseline with them, because they're not as exposed to like what it was like older. And then younger dudes, kind of like myself, we haven't really been that exposed to the old model. But we've just been exposed to it on the internet. So we've been exposed to it on the internet, and we just know we don't really want to go into that stuff. So, I mean, in the case of myself, like, I'm just building up what I can build up, acquiring the resources that I can, and then just immediately going for a younger woman, like, not even entering the dating market like traditional what it is now. I'm just gonna like go and try to pick out a younger chick, basically. And I'm not saying that I'm completely not looking at even girls my age, to be honest. I'm just saying this is my baseline, if that makes sense. Like, the specific situations, we'll see what they are, but this is my general baseline. Like, I've already seen too much to know that oftentimes even girls my age, for a lot of them, especially if they went to college, you got to be careful. So I'm just gonna say you got to be careful. Many of these sub 30-year-old guys may have had little to no experience with women, like I was kind of saying, but you may have built up something decent to good for yourself and your life thus far. That's kind of the path that I'm on. So if this is the case, there's no point in settling, man. Like that's what I say. There's no point in settling. If you have anything built up and have a decent amount of money saved up, go get a fresh woman. Especially in this landscape where the money is funny, the value is just completely distorted. If you've built anything up that's stable, just go get a fresh woman. If you're a young guy and you haven't had much experience, just don't. There's no reason to go into this doomed landscape. Just go get a fresh woman, in my opinion. Settling for a woman your age, even if you're like 25, honestly, just from what I've seen, your experiences may be different, but even if you're 25, man, that might not be a fresh woman. Maybe for somebody who's like 40 years old, as I'll state later, 25 might be a fresh woman for you. But if you're 25 years old, you gotta go younger, man. Like, at least from what I've seen. And like I said, not every single situation is gonna be like this. But like, I'm just from what I've seen, just, I don't. You probably want to go younger. Like, so if you're 25, I would not look for a 25-year-old. Just, I would really not do that. If you're 40, you can look for 25-year-olds. If you're 25, do not look for 25-year-olds. Like, just in general, remember, just in general. But, okay. So, yeah, settling for your woman your age may be bad news. It might be bad news. Might be bad news. So, you know your cohort best. Think about the cohort you grew up with and how that landscape was growing up. Definitely think about that. Like, and remember that a lot of chicks, especially these days, by their junior prom, senior prom, or like homecoming dance, they're already on the market. And that's like mid-teenager. So if she's 25 years old, that's like 10 years. Remember that. So, you know your cohort best. Think about the cohort you grew up with and how the landscape was growing up. Use that to make your dating market decisions moving forward. Just think about that stuff carefully. Like I said, don't settle. So for gentlemen older than 30 to, honestly, 35 to 40, you probably have had a decent amount of experience with women because the landscape wasn't as bad when you were growing up. So you can go for women who have had a bit of experience if you want to. These will probably be post-college age women, like, 25 and up, but still on the younger side possibly, depending on your age and what you consider younger. It's honestly up to you guys how old you want to go, but from what I've seen, an age younger than yourself is probably ideal, just because a lot of women are on the market earlier than guys, but it's up to you. The main point I want to get across in this video is that the old way of going working on yourself. You know how many times I've heard just work on yourself? And I'm like, wait, just work on yourself to go, like, for a chance at getting you in the future? Like, I'll pass, right? But I will work on myself for the chance of a different future in general. Like, but not in order to join the current market. Like, so work on yourself is so legit. But the old way of going, just working on yourself and then being happy for any old woman that comes along, that's done for a lot of guys. And those guys are gonna be, that's gonna be more of the norm as we move forward. Just given all the work that these channels are putting in, like Better Bachelor, Coach Greg Adams, Kevin Samuels. Like I said, Undead Chronic, I mean, that guy's brutal as fuck, but Undead Chronic, like the channels that I mentioned earlier, Taylor the Fiend. So in these times, you're gonna start seeing men building up their own thing themselves, and once they get to a stable position, they're gonna go and pick out fresh, younger women for themselves. Like, forget about the dating market. It's gonna be like a sniping mission, honestly. Like, rather than a free for all or a team deathmatch, it's gonna be like a sniping mission. So this is shaping up to be the new landscape. It takes longer to establish yourself and understand things in our society given inflation. And women like older men, and men like younger women. And younger women have a longer available time span in which they can have kids. Just given all that shit, that's why I think the landscape is gonna change in the future. And it's already changing now. So don't settle. Figure out what you want and then go get it. Like I said, it's gonna be more of a sniping mission these days, as opposed to a free for all. Like you could argue it was in the past 3 decades. So yeah, that's it for you guys. Early morning video. Let's see if I can get this posted today. Definitely keep, thank you guys for helping this channel grow. Like I said, it's slow and steady wins the race. Like I'm saying in some of these comments. Oh yeah, and I'm getting back to a lot of you guys' comments now that I have some time and I'm like trying to change my circadian rhythm and all that stuff. So, bear with me there. I'm getting to some of the older comments, so that's good. And I'll try to see the frequency of my posting. I want to get back to posting more frequently just because I like seeing them numbers. But it'll be a little bit harder, but if I can get my circadian rhythm down, hopefully we can see what we can do there. Alright, I'll catch y'all later. Stay up, stay healthy, don't settle, and yeah, man, let's explore this new landscape together. Leave your experiences and just comments in the comment section below, and I'll catch y'all later.